Excellent. Who works for somebody else? Great. Any business owners wish they still work for somebody else? There's usually a few, so a bit of a worry. But I guess I've got 3 goals tonight. First of all is I want to share a whole bunch of business ideas with you to help you with your business. Second of all, we're going to have some fun. You know, we learn more in our first 4 years of life than we do for the rest of our life. Mostly because we have a lot of fun and we're quite curious about the world. As we get older, we tend to forget that. So we're going to have a bit of fun tonight. I'm going to share with you some of the stories of I've worked with my clients as well. Maybe I'll be able to help some of you guys in your business or not. But afterwards, I'll tell you a little bit more about if I can help you or not. So let's get into it. Now, a wise man once said to me that you can always make more money, but once your time is gone, that's it. So tonight, my goal is to reward you for giving up your time tonight to come along and have a listen to me. And it's not just the intricacy, the time itself, but something about the compounding of time. Does everybody know the 8th wonder of the world, as Albert Einstein described it, compounding interest? So the information I share with you tonight, maybe you've seen it before, but it's very powerful if you start to do it now. It compounds over time to give you a much greater return in the future. So tonight, let's participate in this fully and leave here tonight and give you a whole bunch of ideas and some plans to get out and start to really make a contribution. See, the world works in a pretty basic way. Zig Ziglar summed it up. He said, you can have whatever you want if you help enough other people get what they want. It's actually a pretty cool system. So if you want more out of life, if you want to make more money, if you want more business, you've got to give more. So tonight I want to give you a pathway to help you give more. Considering we're going to spend the next sort of 50 minutes or so together, is it okay if I just tell you a little bit about how I got to be here? Mick's told you a little bit about it. Here's me, little Braden Tenterfield. I grew up, anyone know Tenterfield? Anyone been to Tenterfield? Yeah, freezing cold in winter. Yeah, I still paper run there, -11 some mornings. I left Tenterfield and went to uni. Now, I'm actually a qualified electrical engineer. Any engineers in the room? No? Good. I was going to say I'm better now, but please take that as the right way. But with engineering, the best thing that engineering did for me was help me understand numbers. So if you're in business, the language of business is numbers. In France, they speak French. In Italy, they speak Italian. But in business, we speak numbers. So it's been really beneficial to me. I went on to get a consulting job. Who recognises that picture? Yeah, Sydney Olympics. It's Kathy Freeman. That's actually the scariest 4 minutes of my life. You see, I got to work at Stadium Australia for the 6 months leading up to the Olympics. And my job there, I was with a consulting company doing electrical engineering, was electrical services coordination on site. So I had to make sure everybody's cables went in the right places and switchboards didn't blow up and all the rest of it. But most people don't realise. Who knew that the cauldron got stuck that night? Few of you did, yeah. Now the interesting thing about this was the cauldron there actually has a temporary gas bottle in it. When it got to the top of the stadium, it was to lock into a permanent supply. After the Olympics, when all the fanfare was done, we actually pulled it all apart, and it's now in Sydney Olympic Park, and the gas bottle had 10 seconds worth of gas left in it. We came that close from going the best Olympics ever to the worst Olympics ever. So that's the scariest 4 minutes of my life. Out of the Olympics, and not long after that, I realised that engineering wasn't for me. And I went on to get the gym, which Mick told you a little bit about. And you know, I wanted to live the dream like most business owners, but the truth was I sucked at it. I was really bad. My health was suffering, my finances, my relationship, I was in a lot of trouble. And I came across this guy called Brad Sugars. Now, has anyone heard of Brad Sugars here? Yeah. He's been around for a long time. He started his business here in Brisbane. We now have more than it's over 1,000 coaches, we're in more than 50 countries. And basically anyone, we work with more than 15,000 business owners. So we're a pretty big organisation. We've got a bit of an idea of how it all works. Now to start off with, I want to give you a bit of a warning. And I want to share with you the 2 most dangerous words that you can think about in business. Anyone like to have a bit of a guess at what they might be? Yeah, banks and debt, yeah. Taxes, one of them. I know. These are the 2 most debilitating words you will ever have in business. You see, what happens in your brain when you say, I know, is it shuts down. It gives up the opportunity to learn something new. And a lot of the time it's not big ideas that make the most difference for us. It's subtle little distinctions on things that we already know. So some of these things I say tonight, you might go, oh yeah, I know that. Dangerous place to go. Your brain will shut down and you'll start thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow and the rest of it, whereas the hidden nugget might be somewhere behind there. So I'm going to make a suggestion to you, not only about tonight, but for the rest of your business career. Not just your business career, get rid of I know. See, to know and not do is to not know at all. So if you really do know something, then you're doing it. Open it up with something a little bit different, like, isn't that interesting? Because that will hold your brain open. And it will be the hidden nuggets that you don't see that will make the biggest difference in your business career. So, to put all of this tonight in a bit of context for you, I want to tell you about the 6 steps that I've learned about how to create a successful business. Now, what I've known about most business owners is when they start their business, there's 2 things that they really want to get: money and freedom. The choice to be able to do what, and a bit of a chuckle down the front here, to do what they really want to do. So my definition of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Who'd like one of those? Anyone? Yep, absolutely. Sad fact of the matter is, as you start to build your business, 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. Of those 20% who survive, 80% of those will fail in their second 5 years. So the chances of you making your 10th birthday in business is 1 in 25. And it's not because people don't work hard enough. The frustrations and things where people usually get stuck are 3. It's usually time. They work long hours and get burned out. And that was what I was doing. I was up at 4:30 in the morning and not getting home till after 9 o'clock at night. Team. Having a poor performing team. Can't find good people. Have you ever said that before? And then when I do find them, I can't keep them. And I'll often say to people, you need to train people, you need to work with them. They say, yeah, Brad, what if I train them and they leave? My response is always, what if you don't train them and they stay? So you've got to work on your people. And the last one there is money. They're the 3 things that cause the biggest stresses in business. So to overcome this, there's 6 steps. Tonight we're going to dive real deep into one of them that comes to the marketing. The first stage is about something called mastery. And most businesses that I come across don't get out of this one. Mastery is about eliminating the chaos in your business. It's about getting some stability, and there's 4 areas you need to have control of. Number 1 is, where are you going with your business? When's your business going to be finished? Most business owners dive in, they start swimming, and they sort of get out in the middle of the ocean and go, holy crap, where am I and where am I going? Got to know where you want to go. Number 2, know your numbers. As I said before, if you don't know your numbers, find someone who does know your numbers and get them to help you. Number 3 is about time, managing your time. I work with my clients and I tell them, you need to think about your time as being worth $10,000 an hour. Because someday if you do this right, it will be. Start now and get used to it. And the last part is about consistency of delivery. Make sure that your customer gets a smooth, consistent experience every time they work with you. Not brilliant one day and crappy the next. As human beings, we like consistency. So without all that stuff in place, there's no point in growing your business because it's like having a bucket with holes in it. So I'm not going to talk too much about niche. This is where we build the cash. This is where I am going to talk tonight. This is about building predictable cash flow, about building a marketing machine. Once you've got cash in your business, it's time to systemize it. It's time to start to get you out of the business. Most business owners have all the stuff in their head. It's about getting all of that incredible ideas and information out of your head onto paper, where it can actually be used by other people. Simple little things like team uniforms. It amazes me. People complain about their team not wearing a uniform. And I say to them, well, how do they know what to wear? I told them. Have you ever shown them a picture? I didn't think of that. This is an acceptable clothes outfit to wear to work. Anything else isn't. Pin it up in the change room. So making sure you've got the right systems. Systems in place, time to get the team. Team is about getting structure for growth. It's about getting the right people on the bus. And then you as the business owner, my goal is with business owners is to make them the coach. They've got to get the best out of their team. I get the best out of them, teach them how to do it. They've got to get the best out of their team, like any sporting team. And Petro Sivnasiva, who saw Petro Sivnasiva speak to you that night? He talked about Wayne Bennett being the best coach he's had. And Wayne Bennett was asked one day, how do you coach your team? He said, I don't coach my team, I coach individuals. That's his job, is to get the best out of everyone in the business. The same in your business. How do you get the best out of each of your team members? And the last two stages are synergy and results. Synergy is when all that comes together and works like a well-oiled machine. And then results is the top of the ladder. Results is when you start to look at your second business. So if you don't have all this in place and go and start your second business, all you do is double your problems. Because I guarantee any challenges you have in your current business are just going to turn up exactly the same in the next business. You know why? Same owner. Same old. Businesses don't outperform owners. Okay? So, in the next little bit of time, I'm going to dive into the niche section tonight. But when I work with my one-to-one clients, that's when we go really deep on all this stuff. So tonight, I'm going to give you as much as I can. Now, curiously about tonight, yes, this is about marketing, but if you're looking to recruit people, it's the same process. If you want new customers, it's the same process. Why? Because we're all human beings. So it is exactly the same. So we're going to get 2 for 1 tonight. So let's start off with niche. And niche is the guy there, he's looking at the picture, he's a bit confused, doesn't know how to do it. Most of the clients that I've ever worked with have become super successful, have found a niche. So let's define what a niche is. A niche is a place where you have no price competition. Who'd like to have no price competition? Absolutely. Price competition, live by the price, die by the price. The guy up on the top right there, very funny man, but also pretty clever, pretty wise. He has a simple saying. He says, I don't know the secret to success, but I know the secret to failure is trying to please everybody. And it's the same in your business. When you sink a whole bunch of energy into your dud clients, you're ripping off your really good clients. So we're going to look at your really good clients and how to find more of them tonight. But keep in mind about what Bill Cosby said, when you've got those pain in the backside clients who you don't really want to deal with. Now, when I was at university, I remember this lecture with one of my maths lecturers. I can't remember his name, but I remember the course was on Fourier series analysis. And he started the lecture, and he must have done it every lecture because everyone used to talk about the way he started this lecture. He said, the first time I saw this, I got a little tickle in my loin. And we all kind of looked at him and went, what the hell is this guy on? Well, I'm going to tell you where I got my tickle in my loin tonight. The first time I saw this in business, it blew me away. And it changed the way I look at business forever. So what I want to do is show you a quick formula that increases your sales by 46% and your profits by 61%. Who wants a piece of that? Good, excellent. So, every business owner knows about their customers, their sales, and their profits. Most business owners in here could tell me what their revenue was last year. Or they know how many customers per week they get. Maybe not so much the profit side of it. But they're the 3 end results that most people go into business for. But the trick is, you can't just go out on the street and grab more customers. You can't grab more sales or profits. You can only do things that influence those. So, we influence the customers we get by 2 things. A lead is someone who puts their hand up and says, I want to buy your product or service. Now, whether I buy it from you or not is another thing, but that's where we get to our conversion rate. So leads multiplied by conversions gives us customers. So if I have 10 people who walk into my store and 5 of those people buy, my conversion rate was 50%. And I had a client who just started with me on the weekend. I asked him what his conversion rate was. He thought it was about 50%. I said, great, let's measure it and see, because I know from experience that most people way overestimate what their conversion rate is. He put a little counter on his door, counted the people going in and out, divided by 2, and he checked his sales. Conversion rate, 22%. He said, felt pretty bad. I said, that's great. He said, why is that great? I said, we've got all this room for improvement. He didn't quite see it the way I saw it. Once we've got customers, the 2 next things we need to do is get them to come back, repeat transactions, and get them to spend more money with us. Not by ripping them off, but providing products and services that they need. Yep. Sales is about relationships. Once you have a relationship with someone, it's your opportunity to give them whatever they need. Whether you sell it now or not, you have the relationship, and that is the most powerful part of sales. So our customers times our transactions times our average dollar sale gives us our sales or turnover for the year, times our margin. So the margin is just a fancy word for what you get to keep, gives us our profits. So I'm not going to delve too deep into this, but I want you to see the power of the number. So let's take a simple little business, 4,000 leads. So maybe it's a retail shop that gets 80 leads a week. And we're turning 25% of those into clients. Like my client who's got the camping shop. So we have 1,000 customers for this business, on average. We now work out that we've got these customers coming back just twice in 1 year. So all these figures are on average for 12 months. And they're spending on average $100. Now our sales or turnover for the year is $200,000. 1,000 times 2 times 100. And on average we get to keep 25% of what we sell. Profits for this business about $50,000. So it's not, we're going to delve into the leads and conversion stuff, so I won't talk much about that. But let's just say, hypothetically, we want to grow each of those 5 areas by just 10%, not much. With my clients I say, let's go for 1% a month. You get 12% over the next 12 months, a bit of a bonus. So we're going to grow it by 10%. So 4,000 increased by 10% is, where's our mathematicians? 400, so 4,400. Conversion rate, we're going to increase by 10%, now becomes 27.5, not 35, 27.5%. So now we've got 1,210 customers. Now is that an increase in 10%? No, it's actually 21%. Here's where it starts to get really interesting. So now we're going to increase transactions by 2. Now you know there's only 6 reasons people stop buying from you. Debt's number 1 with a 1%. Moving house, bought from a friend. Who knows what number 1 is? The number 1 reason people stop buying from you. 61%, Jennifer. You stop asking them. Close. Perceived indifference. They think you don't care. That is the number 1 after study of why people stop buying from you. 61%. Quick fix. Send all your customers a thank you card tomorrow. Go out, your good customers. Don't worry about your bad customers. Just your good customers. Send them a thank you card. They'll love it. I'll come back. Now, we've increased transactions. Just send a thank you card. 2.2. Average dollar sale. When was the last time we put prices up? Most people say, a couple of years ago. Every year. Great answer. Even more times than once a year. Your petrol goes up, your electricity goes up, your phones go up, everything goes up, but we tend not to put the prices up. So now, our turnover is now $292,000. Now, what I'm going to show you tonight, we're going to increase our margins by 10% because we're going to have better quality customers, we're going to spend more, so we're going to have higher margins. So now our profits is $80,000. An increase of 61%, an extra 30 grand a year. What would you like to do with an extra 30 grand a year? Heaps. New holiday, new car.
No, we're all paying debt now.
All right, so you're probably going to make 30 grand by saving your interest costs over the life of the loan by paying that sort of extra money. So there we go. This guy's pretty happy. 46% increase in sales, and even if you're not making any profits, who'd like 46% increase in sales? Yeah, absolutely. And a 61% increase in profits. Now, where's our fisherman? Who's a fisherman here? Anyone go fishing? Couple of you guys? Yeah? Yep. See, one of my clients, Ryan, he's not a client anymore. He's finished, but... Sorry?
Why?
Because his job's done, his business is finished. He doesn't have to go to work anymore. He goes fishing instead. Literally. Brian, he loves fishing. And I said to him, when you go fishing, how do you, when you go fishing, do you know what sort of fish you're going to catch? And he said, yeah, pretty much within about 80%. I said, how do you know? And he said, well, I know where they are. I've got the secret spots. He said, I know what tide they bite on. I know what their bait is. I know what the hook, the line, the sinker, and the whole deal is. You see, marketing in business for people is just the same. It's about going fishing for more people. And it comes down to 3 key areas in marketing. Number 1 is your target. So who are you wanting to go fishing for? So Ryan likes to go fishing for snapper. Who's your ideal client? As you think about the clients that you have right now, Which one, if you could clone them and make 100 copies of them, who is it? Who's your target? Number 2 is the offer. Why should they buy from you? What makes you stand apart from your competitors? What's it about for you? And the third part is about the method, or the how. Once you know who your ideal clients are and why they're going to buy from you, how do you get the message across to that so that they understand what your proposition is? So, let's look at target to begin with. Pretty simple concept. Who exactly is your target? How do you describe them? Do you know their age, their gender, their profession, what car they drive, do they have kids, what suburbs do they live in, what radio stations do they live in, what do they listen to, do they actually read the newspaper? It's interesting because I'm going to talk about how in a minute, but everyone, you do have to have a website and those sorts of things these days, but sometimes the importance of a website gets pushed too high, because if your clients or your prospects aren't looking on the internet to find you, then you're wasting your time and your money. The second part is, where are they in their greatest concentration? Where's your secret fishing place? So if you've got a product that you sell to middle-aged mums who have kids in preschool, what else do they do to hang out together? My personal training client, a guy called Jake, you've probably seen him in the paper a bit. He has relationships with hairdressers, he's now got his own masseuse, and people who are in the beauty industry. Why is that? Because generally people who come to his business like to look good. So the trick with your target is to understand who else are they buying from that doesn't compete with you. And you can start to help each other. So in terms of importance of your target, I rank it 10 out of 10. If you're not crystal clear on your target, then you're doing something I call spray and pray. You're out there blasting all sorts of stuff all over the place, probably wasting a truckload of money. Maybe it's in newspapers, maybe it's your internet ad, and even your website. Interesting thing about, I'll talk about ads in a minute, but getting clear on your target is the first stage. Number 2, the offer. Why should they buy from you? Your offer is about what do your target want. And when I say target, I'm talking about your ideal customers. Again, don't try to be all things to all people. Who's heard of the 80-20 rule? Yeah, 80-20 rule is fascinating, life principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. Some examples of this, 20% of the clouds produce 80% of the rain. 20% of the carpet in your house will carry 80% of the wear. 20% of the criminals get 80% of the loot. 20% of the wealth in the world, 80% of the wealth in the world is held by 20% of the people. In your business, 20% of your customers will more than likely give you 80% of your sales. Do the exercise for yourself. Print out a list of all your customers, what they've spent, and see. The top part will be your ideal customers who you need to get more of. That's how you start to find who your ideal customers are. And the big part with, once you're clear on what you're giving your ideal customers, why should they buy from you? See, we all walk around going, most of the time, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me? Everybody turns up or does something thinking, what's in it for me? So sometimes customers aren't real bright. You've got to make it crystal clear for them. What's in it for me? What is the benefit they're going to get out of it? Too often I see adverts with feature, feature, feature. Now a feature is something that is a technical thing. A car has air brakes, anti-skid brakes, airbags, anti-skid brakes, all that technical stuff. But a feature, very different point. A feature is something that will motivate someone to action. To turn a feature to a benefit, which is the part we want, use the word so you. This car has anti-skid lock brakes, so you don't lock up, crash into a wall, kill your family. Bit harsh, that one. But unless you've got some emotional reason in there why someone should buy from you, they don't care about the technical reasons. They're walking around thinking, what's in it for me, what's in it for me? Now, in terms of the importance of the offer, I'll give it 5 out of 10. Sure, it's important, but it's not as important as the target that you want to go after. Now, next part, the method. Now we're clear on who our target is. We know who they are and where they are in their greatest concentration. We know what they want to buy from us, and we've given them some really good reasons as to why they should buy from us. Now we've got to get that message under their nose. Social media these days, if you're not involved with social media, you're going to get left behind. It is incredibly fast how this has spread over the last 10 years. So let's think about it. How do you get your target's attention? Now, the old adage about getting your name out there, who's heard of that one? Put your ad in the paper. Rubbish. It sells newspapers and newspaper advertising. Small business, you can't afford to waste money on advertising. It will kill you. The thing that stops most businesses in startup is the fundamental fact is you have to spend money to get new customers most of the time, unless you've got a track record where you can build a referral base. And most startup businesses fail because they don't have enough capital to invest in buying new customers. Things like Google AdWords and Facebook these days make it quite easily. So I'll give you an example. I worked through this with one of my clients who's using Google AdWords. And what we worked out, that he was paying $1.33 for a click. So Google AdWords, if you haven't looked at Google AdWords, if it's relevant for your business, you need to work out how to start. And it's pretty easy. They make it pretty easy. You actually ring Google these days. And we discovered that for every 10 clicks, he got a quote. And for every, I think, 5 quotes, he converted. So he was spending $1.33 times 10, $13 to get a quote, and then he was getting 1 in 5 conversions, so 5 times 13, which was 50, 65 to get a job. Now his average sale is $6,000. So is that a pretty good deal? How often would you spend $65 to get a $6,000 sale? Yeah, every time you had $65. In fact, one of my clients these days, actually Ryan, the guy, when we finished with his marketing, with his business, at 3 o'clock every day, they have a look at what they got booked in for the following day. Now, based on that load, they turn their Google tap on or off to make sure they've got a full load of work for tomorrow. Who'd like to be able to predict their business at that level of accuracy for the next day? Absolutely. So, making sure you've got the right method. So Google is one. There's a whole bunch of it. In fact, the 5 ways that I showed you there before, I have a list of 282 different strategies. There's about 70 lead gen, 45 conversion rate, so forth and so on. Who would like a copy of that list? Anybody? Yeah, business owners, a list of 282 profit building strategies? Yes? Okay, I'll tell you how to do it. All right, in terms of the importance, 2 out of 10. So people out there spending all this money on marketing, and most of the time they don't know their numbers like what I just explained to you. If you have got the right target, the right copy, the right offer, the copy, you can actually have spelling mistakes in your material and people will still buy from you. So make sure, most people have this round the wrong way. They have this as 10 out of 10. So if I was going to do a marketing campaign and I had 17 hours, I would spend 10 hours, 10 out of 10, on target. I would spend 5 hours on the offer, crafting an offer that will get the attention of my ideal customers, and this part's easy. I'm going to show you some examples of this in a while. But 2 out of 10, make sure you've got these in the right ratios. Now, quick question. As you're flicking through the Sunday papers, how do you choose which article that you're going to read? The headline. Thank you, Jennifer. And when we think about advertising, what's the thing that's at the top of most people's advert? Business name. Little tip. The only people who care about your business name are you and your mum. The headline is there to get the attention of your ideal customer. And I don't care whether it's a newspaper ad or a website or a Yellow Pages ad or anything. Any advertising needs to get the attention of the right person. Second thing, once you've picked an article that you're going to read, what do you usually do next?
Scan.
Scan. Read that first bold paragraph. You have a quick look and think, should I read this or not? That paragraph is designed to get your interest, to see if you're going to continue to read the rest of the article. Journalists are brilliant at writing advertisements because their whole point is to get your attention and draw you through the article. And that is exactly what your advertising needs to do. Now we've got your interest, it's time to build some desire. You've got to make the offer to this person, get them excited about buying your product, not your competitors. Or ringing you instead of your competitors, or coming into your store instead of your competitors. And that comes back to getting the features and the benefits right. The features might be part of getting their attention, but it's the benefits that will get them to take action, to pick up the phone. So if you've been running adverts and they're not working, there's two things. You're either not putting it under the right target's attention, or you haven't got the right message in your advert. The headline for your advert needs to be what we call open loop. Has anyone heard of what open loop is before? Yep, an open loop question is something that can't be answered with a yes or a no. Because your brain then needs to, it's pretty curious, it needs to find the answer. So it draws you into that first paragraph. So, do you need a new car? Yes or no is an open loop question. Here's how to get your next car at a reasonable price. Big difference, because now your brain's going, how do I do that? So it's open loop and it's drawn you into the first bold paragraph or whatever it is that you're looking to get from your advertisement. So we call this principle here the AIDA principle. So any of your advertising must follow the AIDA principle. And start to take notice now when you look at yellow pages or even vehicle wrap signage. There's a classic one. What does it say on the car usually? Name, rank, serial number. Only your mum and you care about that. Having something that gets the attention of your ideal customer, and if you can put an offer on there, makes a huge difference. Coming back to the target, and I said that you generally need to spend money on your target, but if you are really clear on your target, and this strategy worked, they've done it twice actually, two separate things, but my concrete cutting business, who we had a list of businesses that were their target. They knew who their ideal customers were, and they were at a shopping centre on the weekend, walking through the garage, through the car park, and saw a vehicle, speaking of signage, with it all wrapped up in the decals for the business, that was on their target list. Zoe goes, Phil, go and stick a business card under their windscreen wipers. Phil goes, no, that won't work. So Zoe went over and put the business card under the windscreen wiper for their business of their ideal client, this target business. Monday, they get a phone call. By the end of the week, they had an order for 25 grand. That's simple. You don't have to spend a lot of money on your advertising if you know where to go fishing. So let's have a bit of a look at a couple of different adverts that work really well. If you're clear on your target and you're clear on your message and you know what copy you want, let's see how it starts to play out a bit. How about this one? Speaking of vehicle signage. Got your attention? Electrical and plumbing services. Now, the point of this one is more that it gets your attention. You kind of fell down a little bit in that he didn't have any offer there. Still a pretty good way to remember this guy's business. Maybe you needed to have his aim pointing at the toilet seat or something. I don't know. Something to make it a bit more memorable. But, car advertising doesn't work all that well because normally when you see vehicles, you're in traffic and you can't literally write it down, the phone number or whatever it is. Same as movie advertising. No one in here sells movie advertising? No? Movie ads at the start, great, but you sit there and if it's a good movie, you get all excited, you walk out, you forget all about the advertising. Complete loss. The only way you can tell if your advertising works is you must ask every new customer who comes into your business, oh, by the way, how did you hear about us? And keep score. Otherwise, you're never going to know. And I get responses like, oh yeah, but we see our sales go up and the rest of it. But the purpose of niche is to build a marketing machine. One of my clients, we know that if we tip $1 into their marketing machine, it returns $4 in profit to the business. We've now saturated the market. It's running at full capacity. But we've got it to that level of predictability. So, there's our dunny in the car guy. What about this one? Has anyone ever seen this ad in their mailbox before? Altec. So let's look at the headline. Display patios wanted, save $2,000. So straight away, what that's done is target people who are thinking about getting a patio. Altec's at the top, it's cut off. But that part there filters out probably most of the population, which it should. Probably most of the stuff goes in the bin, but for patio owners, we got it. The letter then goes on to explain and build the interest about why you should get an Altec patio. Right now, we're looking for homes just like yours, where we can build new patios to use as display and feature in our advertising. Say yes and we'll give you a special $2,000 discount. So if you're building a patio, who'd be interested in saving $2,000? Absolutely. So what do you do next? Read the next paragraph. And then down the bottom, in big clear writing, got $2,000 off, too good to miss, and the phone number, nice and big and bold. Too many times I see great advertising, and you look down the bottom right-hand corner and there's this tiny little phone number and an address. Big business name at the top of it. Your phone number at the bottom should take up about a quarter, and your headline should take up about a quarter. Get their attention, build their interest, and then make it easy for them to call you. Otherwise, they're just going to flip the paper over. And if your offer isn't good enough, you're not going to get them either. Hairdressers are a classic, and I'm probably going to get any hairdressers in the room. Probably get shot for this one as well. One of the great things that they use, who gets a treatment, ladies? Do you get a treatment with your haircut? Yep. If you've ever had a hair treatment, and they might use it as a marketing ploy, come in and we'll include a free treatment valued at $17. You know how much they pay for it? $2. So high margin. So it's a great way to get leads because people perceive the value as being $17. And they get that number in their head and they're thinking, what can I buy with that? Nice new shirt or whatever. So again, it's getting their attention. What about this one? This one is a eater at its best. So, 5 questions you should ask before hiring a web design company. So straight away, if you're in the market for a web design company, you've got to close the loop. What are the questions that need to be asked? Now you guys, mate, can you read it up the back? You probably can't, it might be a little bit small. So first one, will you give me all of my money back if I don't like your website design? Yes. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Will you guarantee to keep my website at the top of search engines? Yes. What are most people worried about with their website? Yeah, it gets lost. So straight away, we're starting to build the what we're going to do for them. Will you take responsibility for driving traffic to my website? Yes. Will you write high quality website content for me? Yes. How long has your business been established? How long have you been in business? Since 1997. So have we got their interest there, do you think? If you were looking to build a website, would you be giving this guy a call? Absolutely. So the headline, nice and big. The advert on the side there, nice and clear and easy to read. Got your attention, built your interest, got your desire, and got you to take action. The only thing I might have done slightly different there was time limited offer or something like that. But again, we tested and measured it and it worked fine as it was. So we didn't actually need to make any changes. I blanked it out. So that was me. So with your marketing, as I said, it doesn't matter whether it's internet or whatever it is. Facebook, Google Ads, the principles are all the same in marketing. Simple definition of marketing is that marketing starts well before the first purchase and finishes well after the last. So that's where we get a number of transactions. How many times are you going back to your past clients to ask them to come back? How many of your past clients or even present clients know your full range of products and services? My electricians, when they first started with me, lost a big deal because the client that they did work for didn't know they could do LED lighting. Some guy came in with LED lighting and said, hey, I can do all your LED lighting for you. And they went, great, you've got the gig. They never even thought to ask our guys because they didn't know their full range of products and services. So marketing is about educating, and I swap marketing with matching. Okay, so you can imagine you've got a slice of what you do in this circle here. And out here is the entire marketplace. Marketing's job is to match what your A-grade clients want, your A-grade products and services, to the exact place in the market that wants them the most. Remember Bill Cosby said, I don't know the secret to success, I know the secret to failure, it's trying to please everybody. So a question, what's your plan? Do you have a marketing plan? Keith Cunningham, who's heard of Keith Cunningham? He's rich dad, poor dad. So Robert Kiyosaki talks about rich dad, Keith Cunningham is rich dad. He runs a course called Plan or Get Slaughtered. And it's pretty true actually. So what's your plan? What out of tonight have been the key things that you need to do with your business? So I'm going to stop for about 2 minutes now. And for those of you who've been taking some notes, I want you to write down some points of what you're going to do with it. Okay? So I haven't got any music with me tonight. I could hum or whistle or sing. But take 2 minutes and just write down 3 points that you're going to put into action.
For the Rotarians who don't have a business, also applicable for the membership as well.
Maybe it's not about your marketing, maybe it's about recruitment. If you're looking for good people, it's the same process. Target. Who's your ideal employee? Where are you going to find them in the greatest concentration? What's your offer? Why should they come and work for you? What's so good about your business? You know, Gen Y these days get a hard time. And the fact is, we made them who they are. We told them as they were growing up, you could be whatever you want. So now that's what they want. So what they do, they have high standards, but if your business doesn't give them a big purpose, they won't stay. They want to work for businesses that are going to change the planet. It's not that Gen Y won't work. I've got plenty of Gen Ys who I've been involved with the recruitment of. You've just got to give them a good enough reason. And then, of course, with how. Particularly with marketing, with recruitment these days, it's like fishing. It's not about just putting it out in the paper anymore. You've got to have at least 10 lines in the water. Same with your marketing. What I coach my clients on is you've got to have 10 marketing campaigns running at once. 2 out of those 10 will probably work. 80% will fail. 80-20 rule. 80% of your marketing will fail. But you've got to keep testing and trying new things until you get to one that actually works. There's no silver bullets, there's no shortcuts. Okay, so can I just get a few people calling out what you are going to do out of today, out of the lessons you got today? Tony, what do you got in your paper there?
It wasn't so much exactly what you've done, but in my support role is to better support the 20% of people who are the most important to your business.
Great.
Including recruiting resources and their processes
Yep.
to train.
Yep. Exactly. Tony said focusing on his 20% of his most important clients. Do you know who your 20% of your most important clients are? If you don't, find out, because they're worth a lot to your business over the life of the business. And you know what I find is, when you find your ideal clients, there tends to be this incredible synergy. You really like working for them, and they really like dealing with you, and it does start to make business a lot of fun. So work hard on finding your ideal clients. Who else got some ideas out there? Want to share with everyone? James, got something?
Yeah, finally, concentration.
Concentration, yeah. Where are they in their greatest concentration? So James is kind of lucky. James has got the Coal Rocket Chermside. So if you've ever been there, go and check it out. But the thing about where James is, he's lucky because he has a high concentration of people coming past all the time. Probably pays a lot for rent there, but that's the trade-off you've got to get lead generation. So knowing where they are in your greatest concentration is really important. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about the list of 282 profit building strategies. If you want it, life rewards action. You've got to send me an email. It's not just going to fall out of the sky into your lap. So make sure that you just put in the email. Please send me the 282 list and I'll flick it through to you. It's just a PDF, it's a one-pager. And how to use it, go through and do an audit of what you've got at the moment. If you haven't got anything, pick some of the strategies out. And my suggestion is pick one, work on it till it's finished, then work on the next one. So otherwise we tend to spray ourselves too thin and it doesn't end up getting done. If what I've said to you tonight was interesting and you'd like to have a chat to me over the phone, by all means, give me a call. You can look up my website if you Google me, send me an email, say, Brad, I've got some challenges that I'd like to discuss with you, with your business. Can you give me a call? Happy to help out. I do quite a few speaking gigs like this around the peninsula. I've done a few with Mick and all over the place. So if you're a business owner, and the statistics are, the NAB actually did a study on this several years ago, and business owners who come to events like this or actually work on themselves in an event like this have double the chance of being successful in business. So in life, we're either growing or we're dying. Fundamental principle. The marketplace these days is changing so fast. If you don't keep up with it, you get left behind. So if you want some help, give me a call. Happy to have a chat over the phone. Doesn't cost anything. What I do isn't for everybody. Make that very clear now. I gave up trying to coach people who don't want to be coached. But I will give as much as I can to help you with your business. I live out here on the peninsula and I believe in it out here. So happy to help any of you guys out, particularly if you're involved with the Rotary Club. So to finish off, real simple little quote for you tonight. Jim Rohn said, don't wish your life were easier, wish you were better. And it's the same with your marketing. How can you get better at your marketing? Take some of the things that I've shared with you tonight, review your marketing and compare it to it. And see if you can actually start to improve on it. So we'll probably finish a little bit ahead of time. Does anybody have any questions? Any marketing questions, business questions while I'm here? No? The firewalk. Firewalk. Who's heard of Anthony Robbins? Yeah, a few people have. Anthony Robbins he's a pretty incredible guy. He's been doing what he does for well over 30 years. And I went to a 4-day event in Sydney a couple of months ago. And the firewalk the whole point of it is it's a confidence thing. If you can do firewalk, you can do anything. And it's a pretty scary experience. But I guess the thing that most impressed me was there was 4,000 people at this event. And he got 4,000 people to walk across fire. And it's about 3 metres long. And it is red hot coals. It was at Sydney Olympic Park. And we were at the showground next to it. There are 20 lanes of hot coals. And he spent probably 4 hours getting us all psyched up and ready to do it. And so we're out in the dark, it was actually raining, not too heavily, just drizzling, and they had all these drum beats going, and I was actually one of the first ones through, and I had no idea what was going to happen. And anyway, so you get at the front, and away you go, and you get to the end, and they hose your feet off and the rest of it. And it's an incredible experience. So I did actually burn my foot. When I came off, I got a little bit of a coal stuck in between my toes. So yes, I did get a little bit of a blister, but overall it was quite an interesting experience. And it is quite safe, and as I said, 4,000 people did it. I wasn't aware of any injuries. But yeah, what it does is help you with your confidence, I guess. So if any of you ever get the chance to do an Anthony Robbins course, he's a bit out there, but I'd highly recommend it. So yeah, Nick, you were going to ask a question?
We've got the coals.
Coles in the backyard?
In the backyard now.
Maybe I should put it in my coaching program. So, yeah. What do I reckon?
What do you reckon the biggest mistake that people make in marketing is?
Not measuring their results, not testing if it's working, not asking how customers heard about you. It's the only way you're going to find out. So anyone who contacts your business, if they haven't contacted you before, you've got to ask them, how did you find out about them? That'll be number one. And number two is put name, rank and serial number. They call them tombstone ads. Literally, that's what they call them. And the ironic thing is, when advertising first came out, there was usually only one blacksmith in town, one saddle maker, one carriage maker. So that's all they needed to do was put their name and their address. These days in your marketing, it doesn't work like that. The only place it might work is in the yellow pages, where people have already decided they've got to buy, and they're just looking through whatever ad looks the best. So yeah, that'd be my second thing, name, rank, serial number. Yes?
If you don't use Google AdWords, what are other ways to get advertising?
Yep, well, email me that. There's I think there's about 70 strategies on there, but it depends on your target market. You know, like literally with my concrete cutters walking through the car park. Flyers and that generally don't work. Any flyer mail drop, when you first start, you'll give it a go. At best, you're going to get 2-3% return rate on that. Cold calling, if you know who your target market is, I've heard of, these weren't mine, but some of the different business-to-business strategies. Something we call it bulk calling, where you go in and introduce yourself to a business, and they'll usually say, "Can you leave me a card?" And the best one I've ever heard was somebody went out to their vehicle and brought in a big cornflute-sized business card. There we go. So it stands out. These days, if you don't stand out, you're lost in the crowd. So doing something different. I've done a marketing campaign. I told you about 1 in 25 businesses won't survive. So I literally send a birthday candle out to people. Say you're going to make your 10th birthday. That's the headline. And then I'll follow them up and I'll ask them, "Did you get the birthday candle?" And they go, "Oh yeah, I got the birthday candle." So it gives you a way to get their attention. Another one was, wasn't one of my clients, this one, but this guy had a targeted list and he went to the, mannequin stores? Mannequins that they dress, put models in shops and that. He got a whole bunch of right arms and he mailed them to his ideal prospects and said, "I would give my right arm to meet with you." And the hit rate on it was pretty high. Yep. Okay, same process. Who's your ideal customers? Who do you want to join Rotary? What are the characteristics of them? So start with your ideal members here. What are their characteristics? Are they businessmen? How many hours a week do they work at their business? Do they have kids? Have their kids left home? Go through and pick out who your top members are. Like what I suggest to my clients is go and have lunch with them and pick their brains. And ask them, if I was going to try and get more people like you, where would I find them? Quite often they got the answers. So that's what I'll be doing. Same thing, target offer copy. I'm happy to have a chat with Mick or any of you guys, help you out with that. Just let me know. So, and then also, what's your offer? Why should they join you? Yeah. Yep. Okay, so how can you ask for referrals from existing clients? Referrals is an interesting one. As humans, we're programmed to want to give referrals. From an evolutionary perspective, when we were running around out in the jungle or the bush or whatever, referrals is probably why we survived as a race. Because we would say to someone, "There's a good water hole there, go and get it. There's a high mountain there, you can get away from the lions," or whatever. So instinctively, we are programmed to give referrals. But if your product or service doesn't get people talking, and people talk about you for two reasons, you're either really good or you suck. If you're in the middle, you're not going to get referrals. So you've got to have a cracking red hot particular product or service, and I call it the barbecue factor. If people aren't talking about your business at a barbecue on the weekend, then you're not going to get referrals. And I literally went to a barbecue, this was a couple of years ago now, and I still remember the guy's name. Gordon Bailey Real Estate. Has anyone heard of Gordon Bailey Real Estate out here? There was someone, he just sold their house, and this couple couldn't shut up about it. And there was a couple there who wanted to sell their house. Can we get his details? Great. Came back a month or so later, Gordon Bailey had sold the house. So that's how referrals happen. You've got to have people who are prepared to give up their, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputation on you. Because if you're not getting referrals, then you need to look closely at your product or your service. And if people are talking about you at a barbecue on the weekend. Does that help? Yep, so little things. And if I can talk about Nick, what we did with the physio, Nick's one of my clients, and what we did with his business, we surveyed. And if you haven't surveyed your clients, survey them, ask them. Most people are happy to give you their opinion, so just ask them. And what we found out, Nick's a brilliant physio. If you need a physio, go and see him. But what we discovered was that the things that were most important to Nick's clients were, number one, if they're in pain, they want to see him that day. Number two, they don't want to have to wait. And number three, they don't want to be shuffled around. And this was quite revelatory to you, wasn't it? Because Nick always thought it was about fixing their pain. It is, but that's expected. It was all the stuff that went around it that makes a difference, that people talk about. They don't know if Nick rotated their C6 disc and blah, 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 all the stuff that he knows, and they don't care. They want to talk about something that is interesting to them at a barbecue on the weekend, that they can relate to other people. So having something, I call it critical non-essentials. Little things that you have in your business, thank you cards. I bought some books, it was a while ago now, from a Brisbane dentist, a guy called Paddy Lund. Has anyone ever heard of Paddy Lund? Brilliant. And within the book, it was all nice and neatly packaged. It had lavender seeds in it. It had a beautiful card. He actually had referral cards in the package. So you kind of open the book before I've even read it, and there's referral cards. I'm kind of sitting there going, wow, this is so cool. And so I actually gave some of these cards away before I even read the book. So if you don't have a wow factor, you're not going to get referrals. Or if your product or service is unreliable and you're letting your customers down, you're not going to get referrals. Transfer of trust is what referrals are all about. So they don't trust you. So, great.
So you emphasise on the inside of barbecue list.
I hadn't thought of that. It's a good idea. You said advertise on the inside of barbecue lids.
That would make you a hot prospect.
Yeah, hot prospect. Very good. So, all right. Well, listen, I'm probably just about out of time. So, thank you very much for listening tonight. I hope it's been valuable to you. If you're interested, give me a call. And yeah, thank you for your participation. Cheers.
Well, that was a different evening, and thanks, Brad. I got quite a lot out of that, and some of the points I wrote down with the marketing was target offer and method, the indifference, why customers leave you. It's nothing new, it's always been the same. The AE, the principle, it's nothing new, it's always been the same, it's just we try and reinvent what's there. And the other area was the consistency of your service or your product you're going through. The locals here, there's a restaurant on the front, it's an Italian restaurant, I won't say the name so you will know who it is. And I went to him one day and I said, mate, could you tell me how you developed this business? Why there are so many people here, even in the afternoons or lunchtimes? Well, first of all, I looked at the comps. I looked at it was clean, consistent, and staff were good and happy. So his whole basis is on consistency, knowing his customers, and guess what? Only 50% of his customers are intra-based, and most are coming across the bridge. And it's packed. And he has the audacity to close his business for 2 weeks at Christmas to go on holiday. And they come back. Thank you very much for your talk this evening, and I'd like to present you with a small gift. It's the Redcliffe Rotary calendar, and if anybody else would like one, you can buy one on the way out. They're $10 each. We ran this particular competition, and it's all local people took photographs, and we had the Redcliffe Herald judge, and the calendar came through. All our business owners, and perhaps you'd like to sponsor a page next year, all the money goes into the local groups. And as Mick was talking about the different areas that we assist in the community here in Redcliffe, there are quite a number of, and Mick mentioned PCYC. In fact, I sit on the committee of the PCYC, and I wondered why Sergeant Peter Parks was getting such a business sense about it. He's one of your people. I didn't realise, so I read up about you. He's done your course. So even the Queensland Police Services are availing themselves of coaches these days. Well, there you go. But Rotary itself, we're just not local. We're an international organisation. We've been going from 1905. We're in over 120 countries. There's over 1.1 million of us worldwide. We are starting to become sort of tribal elder looking when you look around at us Rotarians. We know that we have to change things for Rotary to continue, and we're looking at ways we can value add and change how we do things. You mentioned Gen Y, and we all see that, and I explained at the table earlier, I've been away from my business for just over 12 months from illness. I didn't thank the illness, but it was a gift in one way because the young people stepped up and I wasn't there to stick the finger in and change things, and people can see a career base going through. Rotary worldwide, there's so many marvelous things. People were asking me, how do they do what they're doing, or why were they doing it? One of the areas we do is in Polio Plus, where we're providing sufficient vaccine to eradicate polio in the world. That's been going on since 1985. We're very, very close. There's only 3 countries left. The recent Ebola crisis in Africa, it's the medical teams that we've trained that they use the same sort of proposal and area to work with for Ebola. We have we're on the UN seats. We have Rotarians are sitting in UN. No other charity base is on there. Worldwide, our charity foundation will be touching $1 billion. It is within the charities that we have, and we put aside 5% for admin, but we never use it because the way it's put in. So any donations to the Rotary International or Rotary locally, 100% of the dollars is put back into charity or into community or into world projects. As I said, thank Nick for bringing this along, because we are or were business people and looking through it. I think it's great this thing we look at tonight, and it's something that we'll be looking forward to. And now we've got your names and addresses, we'll be inviting to other similar things coming through. I would like you to consider one thing in the community though, and you mentioned a guy called Jim Rome, who was somebody I followed many, many years ago, so you're not as young as you look. And Jim Rome, one thing he had, he was a great teacher, and he said, when people say to people, oh, the only reason he gave that was because he's got it. And when you think it the other way, Jim Rome said, the only reason he's got it is because he gave. And I suggest to all business people here, if you're not involved in some form of community area, I have to tell you that PCYC is starting looking at a business group to target what we can do to assist in some of the things we're doing here. In our community here, we've got something like 18% unemployment in our young people. We as business people have to look at what we can do. It's all very well saying, oh look, they won't work, they won't do this, they won't do that. We have to lead. We have to lead and get together as business groups, and business groups are, so that we can develop our community. And then communities will then start buying in the peninsula, not going off the peninsula. You've got to value add. If it's just price, they're going to go across that bridge, they're not going to come to you. Thank you very much for the evening, and I will be standing at the door with calendars, and I'd like $10 each. Thank you.